Well, a big story that just worked its way out was Ksoo's father testifying against him, and Ksoo ultimately being found guilty of the murder. And he hasn't been sentenced yet, has he?
No.
Okay, but I mean, a calculated murder probably is going to be life.
Yeah,
right?
he's gone.
Yeah, and this is Jacksonville, so it's Florida once again.
When I was in prison, I never met anyone from Jacksonville that had less than 10 years.
Huh.
All of them are doing shootings, murders. Like Jacksonville, it's the biggest city in Florida, and it's always held the murder capital.
What's your take about his father testifying against him?
That's fucked, bro. That's your own kid, and not for nothing, you were his example. You were who he looked up to. If you know, what pissed me off the most was he said his reason for testifying was that he has younger kids that miss him. And if you were a father to Ksoo, you wouldn't have to testify against him and use the excuse that you want to be a father to your other kids. If you were a father to Ksoo, Ksoo wouldn't be in the position that he's in. But you want to be a father now. And this isn't his first time snitching either. He snitched back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But you've always wanted to live this street life, etc., etc. You just put your kid away. And if your kid did it, whatever. Right? If he deserves to be in there and that's people's opinions, whatever. But the fact of the matter is you were supposed to be a fucking father. And you failed. And you put your own son away for life. I would never want to live with that.
Look, you followed the case. Do you think that if Ksoo's dad didn't take the stand, that Ksoo would have walked free?
I think it played a significant role in the case. Because his father was called and was essentially the getaway driver.
Yeah.
But not for Ksoo. Ksoo allegedly ran away and the two others got picked up. Because they did the shooting and then fled the scene because a cop was in the parking lot and then broke into a lady's house, took her hostage, changed their clothes into her husband's clothes, called the dad picked them up, and that's how they got away. So it's like the only other person that was testifying besides police and investigators was the kid that drove y'all. Well, he's trying to save himself. You know what I mean? He played a significant role. But Ksoo's dad identifying his own son and saying, yeah, I heard about his reputation and all that shit. That's crazy, bro.
You have kids.
Yeah.
Right? You have a daughter?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Your daughter calls you up after this interview and said, Dad, I just killed somebody.
All right.
What do you do? What do you do in that situation?
Taking the body? The fuck? Yeah. All right. Where are you at? Where is it? Okay. We're going to figure it out.
So you would help her to get away?
Yeah. My daughter?
Okay. So you would put yourself in the same situation that Ksoo's dad would be in?
No. No, because I don't think his dad knew. I don't think he knew. I think that's what he tried to say is he didn't know what he was walking into. He just thought he was picking them up. No, if my daughter told me that something crazy happened, yeah, I would take her side.
So, Ksoo's dad, Abdul Robinson Sr., pleaded guilty to 2 counts of accessory after the fact to first-degree murder.
Mm-hmm.
So these are 2 separate murders. So, in terms of the murder of Charles McCormick Jr. in 2020, Abdul Robinson Sr. admitted to helping Leroy Whitaker and Dominique Barner escape after the shooting. His son, Ksoo, was identified as the shooter and has since been convicted of the murder. Then there's the murder of Damon Rothermill in 2019. Robinson Sr. was initially charged with solicitation to commit murder in this case, but the charge was dropped as part of the plea deal. Huh. In exchange for his testimony, Robinson Sr. received a reduced sentence and a cap on his maximum prison time. He stated in court that he cooperated due to failing health and a desire to be released in time to spend time with his younger children. So there's 2 different murders that he's involved in. So he's charged with solicitation to commit murder for hire and to help Leroy Whitaker and Dominic Barnes. So he didn't help his own son escape. The two co-conspirators escape.
Right.
Aha.
I think that anybody would attempt to help their own family, right? Like, you got cases where it'll be a cop and his son throws a party and some kid overdoses and they try to finagle something to make it look a little better, pull favors in the courts, and, the kid ends up getting probation, right? You know what I mean? I think anybody would be naturally inclined to try to help their own family. Now, I'm not saying that I'm going to mask up and go do a drill with my fucking 7-year-old daughter, but if she found herself in a situation, I would be there for her. You know what I'm saying? Because at the same time, I'm pretty sure you have a daughter as well.
Yeah.
Would you take life on her behalf?
I don't know about that one.
Why is that?
I don't know about that one. Because I feel that ultimately people have to be responsible for their own actions. Now, at the end of the day, if one of my kids, and I have multiple kids, if they came to me and told me that this was their involvement, I would get them the best lawyer I could possibly get. If that meant selling off a house, selling off stocks, whatever, I would call up Drew Finling and I would say, yo, I need a favor. Let me know how much it costs. I'm sending you the retainer right now, or I'm sending you the full amount. You can't send a retainer for a murder case.
Right.
And I would get them the best possible defense that I could buy. But I would not break the law and try to help them escape and end up with an accessory after the fact. I would not do that.
Well, she calls you first, right?
Yes.
Dad, come to where I'm at. I need you. It's an emergency. You show up. You walk in the room.
Yes.
There's a body. There's a weapon. There's whatever. There's drugs. You're not going to touch nothing.
Nothing.
Really?
No. I'm not implicating myself into someone else's murder, even if it's my own child.
But
no,
now is there something in which if somebody did something and victimized one of your own kids that you would do something to them? Because Cain Velasquez, the UFC fighter, something happened to his son, and he went after the dude and shot at the dude. And he ended up getting prison time. And he got an amazing deal because Dana White, the president of the UFC, funded his legal team.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have the capability to take life or attempt to take life on behalf of your child, then I would think that you would also have the ability to try to preserve theirs and keep them free. I think it falls under the same category.
I don't know if I would try to... Look, at the end of the day, we're men and we get angry, right? Now, if I walked in on someone hurting one of my children, I would react at that moment.
Right.
And try to kill that person, right? At that moment. But if the story is, hey, I showed up and something happened to one of my kids and I know who did it, and I would have to go and travel to another place to go and get them, I don't think I would do that. I think that as time was starting to pass, I would say, no, we have to get law enforcement involved in this.
I think it would be dependent on the relationship, because it's like if I had a son who I failed as a father and I've lost all control and he's disobedient, he doesn't listen to anything I say, and he's a fucking crash out, and he got caught with a gun and they locked him up, and then he got out and he did some other dumb shit and they locked him up and he got out, and then I fucking get a call and he's saying, Dad, I just killed somebody. It's like, well, what the fuck do you want me to do for you? You know?
Right.
But now if the bond is, and something happened that shouldn't have, and I feel I can fucking try to, I think
No, I mean, listen, it's a tough call, right? But at the end of the day...
But I'll say this, though. It's a tough call, but for him, knowing that his son was doing this and that, and his son got revenge on their brother, on his other kid getting killed, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
You're the dad. You were the one that was supposed to be the gangster. Why didn't you go kill the kid? Your son goes and gets revenge for your other son, and then you snitch on him?
Yeah, it's messed up.
That's fucked.
It's messed up, man. It's messed up. But, you know, as I think about the situation, it's like, look, in today's day and age with cameras everywhere, cell phone records, witnesses, people's cell phones, and so forth, if I implicate myself in a crime that one of my kids did, my kid is going to get caught anyways, so I'm going to get caught right along with them. Like, no, I would rather sit there and get the best lawyer that money can buy. Like I said, and I would go broke over that. To keep my kid out of doing life in prison, I would lose everything. I would do that. But I would not be an accessory to murder after the fact. That's where I draw the line. Now, look, I walk in, like I said, and someone is hurting my child, I would probably snap.
No.
And I might kill that person. I've been in situations where I thought I'd killed people before, during the home invasion and so forth. So I know what I'm capable of. I'm capable of extreme violence when put into that mind state. And seeing my child get hurt would trigger that extreme violence. But
as it should.
Getting into a car, driving somewhere to go find someone, to do something to that person, I think during the course of doing that, I would probably stop and just call the police. That's what I would do. I'm just being honest.
Well, let me hypothetically speaking, right? Your daughter's with a guy. He took a pill. He overdoses. The pill had Fetty, whatever. She calls you. FaceTime, so they can't get the call. Dad, he took the pill. He died. There's 3 more pills in my room. I need you to flush them. If they find those pills, they're going to know I gave it to him. I'm going to get charged with his death. I'm flushing the fucking pills, bro. Immediately.
Yeah.
Crush them, flush them. That's it.
I'll tell you a real story. I'm not going to say the names, right? But someone who I personally know, an older gentleman, he went on a family vacation with his adult daughter and her boyfriend, right? The boyfriend, I guess early in the relationship, had some drug issues and so forth, which he allegedly got over maybe a year ago. But during this particular vacation, they all went to dinner. They went back. The boyfriend wakes up and he's dead. He doesn't wake up, actually.
I was about to say, he woke up dead.
Yeah. I said it a little bit wrong. But yeah, the next morning, the daughter wakes up and the boyfriend is dead, right? This is a grown man, right, in his 30s or something. They call the ambulance. The ambulance comes, gets him, tries to revive him. He's dead. They go through his things, and they find what appears to be like white powder or whatever else. They dump it all. Now, the guy's already dead, but he dumps it all because he doesn't want his daughter involved in whatever else. He just doesn't want anything to do with it. So, yeah, in that situation, if I knew there were some pills and she lived with me, yeah, I'd probably dump those pills. And I guess I am kind of creating myself to be an accessory, but then again, how do you ever prove that? There's no way to really track that. Unless I have cameras in my home and there's a video of me flushing the pills, then yeah. But yeah, I would do that. But would I help her get rid of the body? Would I help her escape the country and so forth? No, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't even know what to do in a situation like that. All I'm going to do is implicate myself into a murder or a potential death of some sort. I'm not going to do that. I'm 52 years old. Like, I've done my best with my kids. I will help them, but I'm not going to take the responsibility for their poor decisions. So when my kids watch this, just know what your dad is about.